I'll be done in a minute to start letting people in. How are you?
Good. How about you?
Good.
Good.
I think it's pretty.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Very restful.
Yeah. A bit dark, too bright.
Nope.
Right.
Did you stay for a long time to the council meeting?
Not for a long time. The public comments went on a little longer than I expected. And I think I probably left towards the end of those. The rest of the meeting looked like it was an executive session, so. What's my point staying? I usually like to stick around for a while and see what's going on. And it just feels rude to get up and leave. I stood up.
Yeah, I know. Duck out.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. You work all day.
I always sit in the very back, sneak out.
Yeah. It's like
Then I felt bad because you were saying about yourself. I'm like,
no reason.
that feels
to
so
feel bad.
weird.
No reason to feel bad. Sounds like the dog park is a hot button issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Hey, how's it going? Here we go.
Long time no see.
Seeing
Yeah.
proclamations here.
Yeah. To somebody.
Yeah, I don't know where they go.
Belong to me.
Here we go. Look at those.
I haven't had a board that takes its own minutes. That's like a new thing for me.
Oh,
Well, that's good to know.
experts.
That's good information. Oh, yeah.
It's usually.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
name's not there, then Angie will do it, but usually
That's good.
Jonathan.
How was the rest of the wonderful meeting on Monday?
Well, I left, I think it was towards the end of the public comment, but there's a lot of passion over where your dog drops its load.
Yeah, that's kind of what I figured. The off leash dog park
Yeah,
Dogs.
yeah.
probably will get someone elected to the council.
Well, you know, when there's anger, that usually happens. You write it right into office.
Maybe we'll have a dog representative.
You know, I think I could live with that. I could probably nominate a couple.
Yeah. Meeting.
Who's our vice chair?
Oh, you know?
Yeah,
Michelle.
sure, that's right.
I think he's missing the onboarding,
Oh, okay.
but I don't.
Yeah, I just got that email today. I haven't checked my calendar.
Let's go a little bit early.
What was the date of the honor?
It's tomorrow.
Oh,
But if you
hmm,
can't make it,
wow.
there's a. I think they're gonna record it.
Okay. Well, that email just really came late. If there was another one, I didn't catch it. What time is it? Is the onboard? Is it?
6 o'clock.
No,
I've got it open.
I can't do it.
Yeah, 6 to 8 p.m.
My
You can have copy
writers critique group.
agenda in doc form, would you? Word doc?
They do.
Would you mail it to me real quick?
Yep. You have it open.
I have the PDF.
Hmm.
Maybe I don't. No. I can save it out as a. I have a fancy Adobe.
Well, actually, there, Cody created a word.
Oh, did you?
In the,
Oh, okay, that's easy. You can send that to
Wonder if Michelle knows
Mm.
Justin's not gonna be.
For certain, he said he wasn't gonna be, but you know, it's just that time of the TO season. Taking vacations. Hey, Cody.
Hi,
Cody,
sorry for my tardiness.
oh.
So far, it's just the three of us
Yeah,
here.
we don't have a quorum
Oh.
anyway. You're,
Okay,
you're ahead of the curve.
thank goodness. There's Jillian. Kate, did you start the recording or did Jake?
I will start it right now.
Yeah,
Oh, it's already started. I'm just curious if it was a.
Oh, oh,
yeah.
So
'cause
he
the
must,
meeting-
maybe he set it to automatic.
The meeting
Oh, okay.
started.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay, cool.
Hi, Jillian.
do we need to, are you letting folks in?
Yep, I'm letting folks
Okay.
in. No
Okay.
problem.
There's Justin.
That's what it
There's
was. Justin wasn't
Justin.
gonna be here in
Oh,
person.
1, 2, so 5 is a
Yeah.
quorum? Is that right?
Do we-
Help me get this.
Thank you.
At ucar.edu.
Yeah.
Now mine auto-populate. I'm like, no, I'm not sending that to us. Did you get it? Okay.
Yeah.
Michelle. Hi, Justin. Hi, Michelle.
Is Michelle?
Hi, Jillian. Hello, everybody.
Sorry.
Who's excited for the dragon boat races in July? I know that's technically Denver, but it's like the largest in the world or the US or something. I'm not even sure.
I didn't know.
Is the wireless changed its
Yes,
password?
summer 2024.
Okay.
Yes.
One of the movies I made is now available on YouTube.
Oh. Cool.
Another one was on, what was that streaming service?
She's like, so I can sit down. It's time to let folks in.
Uh,
Yeah,
Do
I
we have a
didn't think about that
Cody.
because I know she turns it on
okay,
her computer, but I always freak out doing that. You know,
Kate, there's some way to do it automatically. And Jake has set it up for this one, so maybe he can show us how to do it so that it just downloads as soon as we're finished.
okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay. Oh, so let me see. Sorry, just got an email from Steve. So let me see what that says. He said the Teams link isn't working. So let me give him the link.
That one didn't come through me.
No, yeah, that came from me.
yeah.
Summer 2024,
Yes.
all lowercase.
Yeah.
Justin, did you see your email today?
I actually just got a new computer, so I'm uploading. I did not see anything if you sent it to the IB.
I did not, but someone else did. So if you have a chance to look through that, you might want to see it before the end of the meeting.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you.
Oh, and you're not at work, so the lights will stay on tonight.
Yeah, right. I know.
That's exciting.
It'll be exciting.
Okay, so 9 members, and you have to have more than half is 5. We do this every time. 1, 2, 3, 4. You have 5. You have 6. So
Six.
Okay.
Mhm.
Can we go ahead and start the recording then?
It's already started. That's
Oh,
what
perfect.
Kate and I were talking about. It started automatically and sort of surprised us all. So-
Oh, good. Well, we will officially call this meeting of the June Inclusivity Board of the City of Westminster meeting to order. Welcome all. Good to see you. It is 6:07, and we'll jump in. One of the things that we, will continue to do, what I hope we could maybe do is all of us think about a menu of activities that could be a little bit of like a hybrid for people who are remote and people who are in person, just kind of like team building activities, like a chat, like something that inspires you or something. So I'm going to actually collect like a menu of little like icebreakers because we don't really see each other a lot, between the monthly meetings. So it's just kind of a nice way to help us get right to the business, but it also is a good investment on making sure that we feel like we're humanizing each other and we're valuing each other, and that it just builds that trust and work together. And certainly if someone disagrees or has other ideas, happy to hear those, and you can feel free to share out. Okay. Looking at the agenda today, we've done our welcomes. We'll go into old business. First item up on old business is reviewing and approving the previous meeting minutes. Do we have a motion?
So move.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been motioned and seconded. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All in favor of approving the previous meeting minutes for May?
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed? And does anyone choose to abstain? All right, so moved. Thank you. Moving on to our next item of old business, kind of old/new business, building community and outreach. I know that we had a little bit of challenge with the schedule. We wanted to make sure to honor our staff for our city's time. So Rich and I met with Kate and Amy and Cody on Thursday of last week. And we really talked a lot, kind of, Michelle, back to your point around sort of, what does that ambassador program look like? And one of the things that came away, and Rich, please feel free to come in, is it feels like we maybe operate if we set some clear like goals around what do we want to show up for. We hear a lot of the need for us to be outward facing, away from our city hall, getting out into the events and activities. So one of the first things that we thought would be a good idea would be to look at the events that the city is planning to have and basically come up with a running list of people who could represent the Inclusivity Board at all of our city events. And then what we could do is we could also look to maybe each of us, I don't know, take a neighborhood, take an area of the city, whatnot, and we can really look at what's happening within our community. So each of us live in different neighborhoods, and maybe we inventory where we are. I don't even know if we actually know where everyone lives. Like I'm in the Highland Hills area, so I'm right off of Sheridan and 80th. So like looking at my area and seeing what might be available around us, what things are happening, looking up at next door, looking up at those things, and then really trying to bring some of those efforts of community back to the table so that we can decide how we want to show up and where we want to show up. But then I think we just need to be a little bit more, okay, who's doing it, and let's get it done. Because I think sometimes we I've heard that we want to move from idea, we want to move from like planning into actual outreach. And that's one of the biggest goals of the strategic plan for the city of Westminster. Inclusivity is embedded throughout. And I know I've heard many of you say that we have decided long ago that people shouldn't come to us for inclusivity, that we want to bring inclusivity to them. So I think those are the key things that we want to do. So I think we can figure out a way. And Cody, I don't know if we have figured out what exactly we want to do. I know that the city has kind of an issue with Google Docs. Is that correct? Like sharing? Yeah. So is there like a shared drive or something that we could use for this group to sign up for events and make sure that our events are covered? Or do we just have to do kind of an email kind of reply all and go back and forth.
Kate, the form we use for volunteers for events, I don't know if that would be helpful because it doesn't really share. So
It only
we're-
shares per person. Yeah.
yeah. I don't know. There are security issues, right? And being government, and we're getting all sorts of attempts. So our cybersecurity is pretty important. We a little bit have been using OneDrive, which is the Microsoft version internally lately, but I asked if we could use that externally, and we can't for a different purpose. It's only internally used. So I think we might have to do sort of the old school. Well, not super old school, at least we're not writing it in a piece of paper and sending it by mail, but we could do some, share around a spreadsheet, and somebody sort of is the keeper of that spreadsheet or something. Sorry, Justin, I don't believe that we're there yet.
Okay. Yeah. I just think what we can do is we can start looking at the city events, and really figuring out what we want to show up for, put our name badges on, and then go out and represent and just be a resource and go visit tables and go, share things. We had talked back and forth a little bit about the mixed results of having a table versus just going out and visiting other tables and kind of talking about who we were. It makes us a little bit more mobile. Maybe there's an opportunity to be a little bit of a hybrid. But what I would propose to do is I will start an email chain then with that information. And I'll just do a reply all, but I'll try to list it out in email form. So it'll be simple just to put your name on and reply back all. Understand that because we are replying all, it is officially public record. It is quorum. So the only thing that we're going to be doing is using those email chains to just sign up for events or figure out how we're going to cover events. So that will be really the purpose of those. Would that be okay with everyone if we started doing those things? Okay. So then the next piece we really want to do is, I know that Miguel, you are going to be sitting on the SRC, I think the board, is that correct?
Yeah, I was sworn in at the last meeting, so I'm on the board now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So one of the things I think we could do is we're really going to try to leverage the people in their positions. So Miguel, if you want to take the lead, I'm certainly happy to, but we want to get with Chris right away and start talking about what it is that we could do. Maybe you, whoever else is interested, Chris, myself, and we just start planning out what this board might be able to support them with as far as like neighborhood walks. I know we talked about walking the neighborhood, knowing your neighbors. I think that was a big theme for him. And I know that Cody and city staff have kind of started looking at some of the demographics of where we can get the most leverage for that work, maybe looking at the populations of different communities and seeing that. Yes, Seth, please.
What's SRC?
Senior Resource Center.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Senior Resource Center, yeah. So Miguel, would you be okay with maybe setting up like between you and Chris and I, we can set up an initial meeting and then we can just say, okay, this is when we're going to meet. Any of the other Inclusivity Board members who want to be a part of that can. Would that be okay with you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Because then we can just move forward and move that piece, Okay. Rich, what else? I know we talked about a lot of conceptual things. Rich and I were very cognizant that, not everyone could come when, so we definitely we'll have more of those meetings and we'll put them enough in advance to where people can attend if they want. But Rich, what am I missing or what?
I think you did a good job. I know I have a connection with Growing Home through the Committee for Development Communication. And I'm also interested in, at one time, I was trying to connect with the college. And they had some changes in personnel, and so that didn't pan out. So I really like to see what kind of inclusivity work they're doing now and retry that connection.
Yeah. Great. Thank you. And that is one thing that maybe we can talk about. Like, we all have connections already and things that we want to reach out to. For example, Miguel is now on the Senior Resource Center board. That will be a big opportunity for us to build that bridge. So I think one of the things that we can think about is who wants to outreach to what. Like, I know that Alan, for example, does a lot for displaced, families and displaced persons throughout the city of Westminster and beyond, and Adams County. So I guess I just kind of open it up to, if we had one little like homework assignment of outreach for the things that we're passionate about, what would it be and why? And I'll start, I guess, with myself, for example. I am connected with the district schools. I'm also connected with Jeffco and North Metro Arts Alliance. So I'm doing like a lot of different things from the arts and culture aspect. I'm also doing obviously a lot with education. So Rich, I would be more than happy to take a co-lead with you on reaching out to Front Range and talking through what we could do to like, try to just be known and provide resources and figure out like how we can, get on their agendas to like support them. So I'm happy to commit to that by the next meeting if you and I want to kind of talk and we can figure out a co-approach on that. That would be one example.
But what is your connection with the county? Well, Adams County you're talking about?
Yes, like,
okay.
And I was talking with like, I know that Alan does a lot with like displaced populations and persons with Adams County.
Okay. I do have a connection through Jeffco. So when you said the county, I just automatically thought we were talking about the same county, but we're not.
Yeah. Yeah, no worries. But I think that's a good, qualifier too, Rich, is that again, I don't think we necessarily know where everyone lives or what areas we kind of like represent. So I think that might be a good idea to just kind of present that if you feel comfortable. Obviously, we're not looking for your address. The city has that information, but just kind of like the region or the geographical area in which you feel comfortable, connecting with or kind of reporting back on, like Westy Hills. I'm in Westy Hills. Is anyone else in the Westy Hills area? Okay. So I will make a connection with, Westminster Public Schools is pretty much on board, but I can connect with them and talk through officially what they would, want or need. I'm happy to reach out to representatives of Jeffco. That might take me a little bit longer because I don't know exactly the people and I'm talking about the district at that point, Rich, Jeffco School District. I can reach out to them and just kind of let them know what we're doing and what we're trying to do. So that's that piece. And then Rich and we can maybe collaborate on Front Range. Okay. Miguel, I know you're doing Senior Resource Center, and you obviously have an inside with the new position that you have with the police department. And I know that's something that you are also passionate about. Would that be those things? Would those be things that you would be comfortable bringing back to the table as we talk through our strategy and our planning?
Yeah, I think so. There hasn't been much on the police front. It's been kind of quiet, but I think we should still, reach out and have the chief or some representative, at least come once a year to give an update. So that's about it. Yeah, I'm happy to represent.
Okay. Would there be anything else that you would really like to see, like maybe doing some outreach toward, like for the next meeting?
I think for now, I'm going to just try to get my bearings with the SRC and see if I can help with connect that a little bit and even just on that board in general a little bit. So I think for now, I don't want to fill the plate up too much, but I'm happy to see if I can help somewhere else down the road.
Great. Thank you. Appreciate all that work. Rich, was there anything else you'd like to outreach to? Well, I know we talked about Front Range. Was there something else that you really wanted to maybe pursue? I know that you are going to start being a part of the arts meetings for, for like Arts Week planning and things like that. I know we'll both kind of represent in that way.
I hope to anyway.
Yes, you will. I just have to set the meeting.
Okay, no worries.
You're definitely on that.
Yeah, my connection with Jeffco, actually, I wouldn't mind, sort of co-working the Jeffco School District with you as well.
Okay.
All three of my kids went through Jeffco schools, and I now have 3 grandkids in Jeffco schools. So
Great.
I wouldn't mind doing that. My connection with Jeffco, other than that, is the Cultural Council, which we actually just met with the county commissioners this morning on that subject. So if there's something to look into there, I can look into it. I don't think there is through the Cultural Council, but there may be something else through the commissioners we can look at.
Great. Thank you. Seth, was there anything that you would like to maybe look at or explore?
I am oversubscribed at the moment with working
Yeah.
such things, so I
Yeah,
can't.
no. Is there something that you would like us to maybe explore, like, or just think about, or is that something you want to just, table and maybe present later?
I'll table it for now.
Okay, great. Thank you. I'm just kind of going no particular order, just kind of as I see you. So Michelle, hi, good to see you. Michelle, I know you've got a lot of things with policy and things of that nature. Is there anything that you would like to do some outreach on or see some bridging to?
So I'll be honest with you, I don't really have bandwidth for outreach per se, for various reasons, got all sorts of other things going on. But one thing that I would love to do, since, I've been sort of the outreach, or just connecting people on that train for a while, I'd really like to go back to sort of mapping out the city and trying to identify people that we know. So rather than it just being the 11 board members trying to get out to a city of, over 100,000 people and making sure everybody feels connected, that we maybe try to find people in geographic areas where we have a smattering of folks. And I like the direction that you're going in, which is connecting with nonprofits and cultural groups and folks that have a decent amount of reach. Most of them are probably city residents as well. So if we can maybe find some of those folks who are used to reaching out, right? Maybe we can try to sort of map out who do we know that can reach people in all corners of our geographic or strangely drawn boundaries of the city. So what I would love to do is maybe share with you, Justin, something that I had started back when I started talking about the ambassador program. And what we can maybe do is I try to just, I can contact board members individually and be like, hey, what neighborhood are you in? And we can just start to kind of plot out where everybody's at. And sort of see if we can almost heat map the city with folks that we know. And I think it'd be great to get folks in their neighborhoods more so than maybe even just like their service area for like a nonprofit. Because it's obviously, reaching out to neighbors is generally easier. You knock on the door and they're going to open the door, right, and talk to you, or they'll pick up the phone if they know you. So that's what I would like to suggest that I can do in terms of supporting this effort to try and create more connections.
Great. Thank you. Yeah, feel free to send whatever you need to me. And my time in the summer is generally very flexible, so I can get on some things that have otherwise, been a little dense and compact for me over the past few weeks with just personal and professional stuff. So yeah. That'd be great. Okay. Awesome. Steve, are you having maybe some connectivity issues? Is that?
I did. I think I've got success now. I don't know exactly what I did.
Great. Well, you sound great.
Came back. So
yeah,
I could hear everything in the conversation. And I kind of support Michelle's approach. I think it would be a little more comprehensive and easier to implement. But a couple of thoughts I had is I certainly like to do a little more outreach to some of the other boards that we, I guess, could partner more with. And specifically, I'm thinking of the parks, PRL, and open space as a possibility. In fact, I was thinking of sitting in on their July meeting just to see and offer whatever support we can with their activities. Because a lot of the, when I look at the list of city activities, a lot of them are connected to their programs. So I think that would be a role I could have or perform, if it's of benefit.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know Cody, at one point we had talked about like maybe some of the chairs of the volunteer boards, coming together and just kind of like talking through some of the efforts and maybe just sharing how we're trying to support, now the newly minted strategic plan. Is that something that we could also explore doing in the next maybe month or so? You're
I don't want
Cody,
to, I shouldn't speak for Kate and Amy
I was
because
gonna
Kate
say,
and Amy
I
are
said it
your
under
new,
my breath. I'm
your
like,
new
yeah.
staff liaisons. So I'll let them talk about that. I will say if you're going to, the timing is great because onboarding is also this week, and that's when all of the boards and commissions come together, which is a great opportunity to network. That's part of the intention of that onboarding session. It's maybe lost that over time, but sorry.
No, thank you.
So-
But historically, we had talked about that, so there was
Yes,
no issue
absolutely.
about us coming
Mhm.
together.
And we've
Okay.
talked about that with Catherine and Abby, who oversee the boards and commissions as a whole. So they know that we've shared that idea. I'm sorry, I'll be right back.
No, no worries. Kate, Amy, do you have any thoughts on that? Maybe bringing those people together?
We can definitely talk about it. I put it.
Yeah, we can definitely explore that
Yeah.
possibility.
I know
Great.
the Historic Landmark Board would probably be very interested. So that's the only one I can speak for.
And I attend the Pro Slab, though I'm not, the official staff liaison, that's Tomas, but I attend most of those meetings, so I'd be happy to make a connection there and we can reach out to some of the others too.
Great, thank you. But yes, Steve, I think that would be a great opportunity if you wanted to maybe attend the July meeting and be a presence. That would be lovely, and I think it would fit the spirit of what we're trying to do to represent as much as we can at as many different city functions as we can. So, yeah.
Sorry, just to interject, the HSB, remember that board came and met with you earlier this year or late last year. They're gearing up for their grant cycle, so always good to maybe check in with them through that process.
Yeah, because I know we were we really couldn't do much, but we had talked about maybe prepping for this type of season and what we could do to support them as well. Or time of year, I guess. Great. Anything else, Steve?
That should do it.
Great, thank you. Jillian, hello. Good to see your bubble. I can see your bubble with the J in it. So
You don't want to see me right now. I had a vicious fever earlier this week, and I was camping in the Great Sand Dunes and in the forest last week. So I'm not at my most civilized at the moment.
totally fine. Did you have anything that you would like to maybe see outreach wise or just kind of reiterating some of the points that have been made tonight?
I mean, in terms of, I always wish I had more time than I did because volunteering for other boards or other institutions would be great. But I do have my hands pretty full with work and family and current hobbies. What I'm excited, like there are so many activities to do over the summer, and meeting other parents and families through my daughter's schooling and knowing that people are going to be going to kind of the same events. Just taking on a little more elbow grease in terms of knowing what the city council is going to be discussing in the future. And, I initially got into this whole idea of like, people just they need information. They need to know what to do, when to do it, and to feel like their voice matters. And since I'm terrible at small talk, it would be way better at these functions where there's lots of people standing around. And obviously, we all have kids, but you don't want to talk about your kids all the time. Sure. Being able to say, hey, the city council is going to be discussing blah, blah, blah next week. Do you feel strongly about that? Drop them an email or a voicemail, or show up to the meeting if doing that on a Monday night is possible for you, because we're here to advise. We're here to help bridge the gap between what the average person living in Westminster feels and wants, and the city council knowing that so that they can vote accordingly. So taking on the personal effort of being better informed about what's coming down the pipeline instead of reading about it in the news afterwards, and then getting people talking about it when we're out at these community events, you know, the movie nights in the park, all the kids want to go and see each other, and then the adults all have to stand around and pretend we like each other, even though the only thing we have in common is the fact we all have kids the same age. That could be a reasonable enough effort on my part to feel like I'm doing something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think you bring up a good point too. I don't think any of us should feel guilty about not being able to do things. So I don't want to bring that message out either, that you've got to do X, Y, and Z. But I appreciate that because, you know, I think a lot of us serve on multiple boards and things of that nature because it's kind of who we are generally, you know. And so even if there are things, I love that idea about like, what can we do to like go to those meetings and support that process? And like, maybe like, you know, you could help us by just flagging some of those gatherings and things. And I don't mind slipping in the car and jumping down on a day or whatever and just saying, hey, these are some of the cool things that are happening. Have you heard about these things? I think that's a great idea. So. Yeah. And did you have anything else? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, Cody.
Oh, sorry. To the piece about what's coming up on council agendas, there's a 6-month planning link on the council agenda page on the website that's updated every week. So good place to go if you see a title or a topic that you're interested in learning more about.
I accidentally fell down the wrong rabbit hole when I was looking that up because I know it existed, and I ended up looking at like all the state legislature that the city had already taken a position on, and then whether or not it got signed or not. And I'm like, well, this is cool, but this has all happened already.
Yeah. But yes, there's a lot of information there for sure. Okay, cool. Thank you, Jillian. Appreciate that. Donna, hello. It's good to see you. We were just talking about things that maybe we wanted to really see or represent, or, you know, things that we wanted, like if you, for example, had an idea about who we maybe can think about outreaching to, or if you had some ideas about who you wanted to outreach to, just so we could start getting some momentum around getting out and being forward facing in the community. And that's really what we were talking about.
Thank you. And I apologize for coming on a little late. Like many places, our dining services are often a little understaffed. And so when I go down for dinner, I try to go early enough that I can get through, but sometimes it runs over. And so I apologize for coming on late. Well, you know, I guess for me, as much as anything, because I am one, the senior population is one, because I obviously live in a senior community. And we now have what we call our resident life director, who's a young man who's really gung-ho about finding all kinds of activities for us as residents here to do. And I'm sure this is true in many of the others, like San Marino and some of the others that are within the Westminster city limits. Because I think what happens frequently, people move into these communities, or they can be just out in the neighborhood too, oftentimes as seniors, to be closer to their kids and their grandkids and those kinds of things, but they have not grown up in a community, say, like this, or maybe not spent very many years here. So I think we oftentimes don't know the opportunities of things that could be available to us as seniors or just in the city. And so maybe that would be something. Is that kind of the information you're kind of seeking there, in the way with what we might be able to help seniors out with, and provide, we obviously constantly have seniors living where I do who have to quit driving because they can no longer do that. And so then providing some sort of, if it's at all possible, transportation, or at least providing information about what transportation might be available to them. So those are the kinds of things where I probably focus, because that's what I'm around most of the time. And that makes some sense to me. So that would be my suggestion, is if we could figure out how to do that. I think it's very easy when you're in a community like I do, and you become somewhat separated from the larger community, to just assume that you don't have to worry about this, that, or the other thing, or you don't need to take a part in this, that, and the other thing, and you separate yourself. Well, I, not being that kind of a person, obviously have not done that, but we have residents that do. So the kinds of things that we might provide for people, and I don't know what that would look like exactly. I could sit down with some people and brainstorm a little, but that would be what I would suggest anyway.
Oh, that would be great. And I know, I'm not sure, you may not have been on here, but I know Miguel just shared that he was sworn in as a member of the board of the Senior Resource Center.
Oh,
So that's going to be, I think, a way that we can also bridge. But I'd be really curious specifically to, like, if you did talk to, I know you're probably well networked within your community, of course, if you did talk to some people and been like, you know, what are some of the needs? I mean, I think bringing those to the table, because if nothing else, like, you know, if I have an afternoon, or I mean, I have a group of kids that we could do background checks on, and we could like flood some of these places,
that was
these,
really,
you know, centralized homes, and be like, what can we do? And they need points, and they've got honors points, and we can navigate all of that, like, you know, community building. So even bringing performances or something like that to, like, you know, your facility would be something
sure.
we, you know, would love to do. So like, those are the things, like, yeah, I think that would be great. And then we could talk through like networking as an inclusivity board, how that
Absolutely.
looks.
And that's what kind of where I was going with this. I think that sort of thing, because it's very easy too, I think, is as seniors to just kind of separate ourselves and kind of pull back. But I know when the preschool that's across the street from us, I can't think of the name of it right now. Anyway, those children come over every once in a while. And our seniors that live where I do just love seeing kids. So at all ages. So yes, I think your point is very well taken there.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Was there anyone that I missed, or does anyone have any additional thoughts before we kind of frame what we're doing? Okay. So, oh, anyone? No, sorry. So what we will do, I would say, Rich, I'll reach out to you. I'll reach out to you, Miguel. Like, I'm planning to send out, first and foremost, going back to the first item, I will tomorrow send out an email to this group around, like, here are the activities, who wants to represent it, what. And again, we understand if you're busy, it's just, we're going to try to be as, you know, well-rounded in our representation as possible, different types of events. Obviously, you know, not hitting the same type of event over and over and over again, just so we can be as everywhere as we can. Even if it's like one movie night, you know, we go to one movie night, or we go to, you know, one art on the cart, whatever that looks like. And then we can like go through, and we can just represent and be available and support, and also see what's going on, so that we can bring back maybe some opportunity for how we can advocate and better support those groups and what they're doing in our city. And then the second thing is, if you want to do some outreach, I'll take it upon myself personally. I did say this to the group on Thursday, that I will make it a point to reach out individually to each of you in the next 2 weeks. And what I'm going to be doing there is, I'm just going to be like, okay, talk to me about your ideas. What are we going to do? Let's create a little mini plan just for you. Now, it doesn't mean you have to be a part of that. Like, I want to be clear. It just means these are the things that maybe we could benefit from. And we're not asking you to own it. We're just asking you to share those ideas. So I will be reaching out with you just for like a 10-minute, like, just simple conversation. Can be over the phone, could be a coffee meeting, whatever it is that is most comfortable. I can come to you. I have no problem with that as well. I do think it's important, though, that I just feel like we're at this space now to where I can help support the structures that we can do to really move forward. And that's where we are. So, and I know everyone's on limited time, and I'm going to take advantage of some of the flexible time that I have in the next 2 months. So, cool. Okay. Does that feel okay with everyone as a step?
Sure.
Okay. Anyone have any additional thoughts before we move forward? Okay. Let me go ahead and get back to our agenda here. We did talk about varying the meeting locations. The challenge with that, we had a lot of good conversation, and we understand that, it is something that we want to strive for access wise and getting out there. A challenge is that it actually does make it a little harder for accessibility as far as members of this group around the technology needed and city staff and things of that nature. So we're maybe thinking about like ways in which we can try to have like sort of maybe twice a year outward facing events and or board meetings at specific spaces, whether that's like, I just use Donna's, place of living as an example, but maybe it's one time going there and making sure that we have the structures and the supports technologically to have a meeting there and invite people to come in and listen to us. And but we are still fairly limited with one, our resources of city staff, and two, just technology. So we'll continue to have those conversations. If anyone has any ideas and you want to send some emails to me, please let me know. We definitely, I see the value of doing it. We really do. I just think there's some limitations that we have to kind of consider as we move forward. Yeah. Anything to add on that, Cody or Kate or Amy? Okay. All right. Moving into Councillor Dumont. I don't think he's here. No. Did we get any kind of report or anything from him?
I think he said last month he wasn't going to be able to be here. Am I remembering that correctly?
My brain's a bit of a fog. I'm sorry. I've been in training for 3 days. So pretty much, Seth, I'm going to go with yes. You're probably right. That's exactly what happened. I can give a brief what council's done in the last few weeks.
That'd be great.
If that would help you help people.
Yeah,
Somewhat. Anybody chime in if I missed something or misrepresent something. They had a study session on the Westminster Hills open space a couple weeks ago, and have decided at this point to pursue keeping the space at 470 acres. They're going to make some other modifications to things like parking and fences and things, but that continues to be a conversation. They public comment covered that also just this past Monday night. They have left the Rocky Mountain municipal airport. Well, the roundtable was disbanded, so there's still conversations about the airport and what's happening there. I think there's some other work going on behind the scenes and how they can still get the voices to the table for monitoring the airport, specifically noise and traffic there. By traffic, I mean air traffic. So some of the big topics. The Rocky Mountain Greenway Trail is going to be in a study session on July 15th. That's been a topic for a few of them about where that stands, our participation, and what it looks like, and what options are around that. Those are probably the biggest items that they're talking about right now. And then, of course, more strategic plan will be coming. They had a budget study session as one of their study session presentations a couple weeks ago. So where we are in the budget process, and after the budget town hall and community requests coming in and those sort of next steps, the budget process is close to an annual process now. So just adding in all the key stakeholders and the voices that need to be at the table in developing that budget. Strategic plan, of course, is a huge part of that, as well as the 5-year CIP and then future forward with that. So keep watching for that. Strategic plan will be coming back to them. The legislative sessions update, I think, is also in July. I want to say July 1st. I could be wrong about that. Where our contracted lobbyist comes and gives an update for them. Did I miss anything? Michelle, you usually know as well as I do. Anybody? Did I miss anything?
I think you're right about the early July, because that's where some of the bills are actually going to come into play. They're going to actually be they're signed into law, but don't actually get move forward usually until July 1st at the earliest.
And staff is looking at all of the bills that have passed and how that impacts our operations, because there will be a few that do. change how we do things. So
Definitely, definitely. And actually that'll be something that I think we might want to track a little bit, because some of that does involve housing and development,
Mhm.
which does have a direct impact on some of the areas that we are of interest to us. So
yeah, so I would say watch for those July meetings. Important. Steve, I see your hand up. What was that for me?
Yes, I just wondered if there were any new developments on I'll call them the councilman and women districting process at this point.
Oh, yes. There's a wards, they're calling it wards.
Wards?
It's a
Okay.
subcommittee. I don't know, the word's not right. It's not a advisory group, it's a subcommittee. And they're, each member of council, offered up a representative from the city. So there's 7 individuals who are working with, a consultant who has done this work, I think, for Jefferson County when they redistricted, and a couple other local entities. So is very familiar with with changing those sorts of rules and how cities move from all at large to a wards or districts. So the committee is talking about three decision-making points. So they're doing that pretty quickly too, I think by the end of the month. So we'll be back to council, I think also in July. Any of these recommendations will have to be approved by council and then put on the agenda. Or not the agenda, the ballot. And the ballot happens in August.
Right. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Now I gotta put my hand down.
I have one other thing, which is that we have 3 proclamations here that Rich, Miguel, and I collected on Monday. So hooray.
Yay, hooray. You can give those to Kate and Amy. They can add them to the collection. I don't know where the rest are. I think the rest are in the clerk's office. But
We can reuse them next year.
just change the dates, a little bit of whiteout. Thank you everyone for your help on those. Alan had some good edits, and so I appreciate that another read through. I know that sometimes we read them every year, and so it feels like they're all the same, but it was nice to have another set of eyes. I know last year we did some updates, and Miguel was a huge part of that. So just want to say thank you for making those work better to be better products. Thanks.
Yeah, and I was just going to say thank you for being there to receive and support. That was on my list of things to acknowledge. So thank you, 3. I was hoping to make it, and just time was not with me that day. So yeah, so we really appreciate that. Thanks for representing. Okay, any other questions for Cody? Okay, thank you, Cody. A reminder, if you can make it to the orientation of volunteers and boards, that is tomorrow night. You should have received an email. You know, I know it's a little hard and a little challenging. They have them in the evenings all the time, and evenings are really crunchy for me typically. So if you cannot make it, please let Kate and Amy know. And we'll make sure to get that information to you. Typically what happens is we have to go through the slides, and then, you know, the last time I had to miss, I wrote statements out or something around what I read, and it was kind of like a little book report. You know, it was fine, but you know, just make sure to go through that information. It is important, and a lot of things change each year. So even though most of it stays the same, there are laws and certain guidelines that do shift a bit, and it's always good to remind ourselves to stay out of trouble. Okay. Anything else for business that we want to bring to the table? We do have some time. I also wanted to let you know, Alan was not able to be with us tonight, but did share that he was very pleased, at least at some effort. There was some effort, and Cody, I think, Kate, maybe Amy, you all might have a little bit more background, but there was a positive statement from Pastor Baca, right, of the crossings. Is that correct? Around persons who are overnight camping. Like, I didn't get the full disclosure. What I gather though is I gather that Pastor Baca from Crossings Church put out an outreach of maybe being welcoming in the parking lot around overnight campers and things like that, so people didn't feel like they had to move and things. And I think the mayor was on board with that. The mayor actually helped have some of those conversations. I don't know the full context. I know Alan would, but again, he's in Columbia, so he's not able to share. I don't know if you have anything else to share, Cody, or our city staff friends. Yeah, he said it was very promising. I will try to. He just sent that email today. I'll have a more detailed report about that, and we'll kind of dig into that for the next time. I'm sure he'll be back next time and he can share directly with you. But I will further look into that. But he seemed very moved, and it felt like a step in the right direction to him for persons who are displaced overnight sleeping in their cars. As you know, that's been a challenge in our city when people can't stay for very long in certain areas or overnight in our parks and things. And it sounds like our pastor friends stepped up and provided maybe a space, safe space for people to be able to park and be able to stay for a period of time. So I'll have more information. I'll do some outreach on that. Okay. Okay. Other points that we would like to share? Any points of order for business, anything of that nature? Okay. We did talk that Miguel has been officially sworn in. Congratulations for the Senior Resources Center. That'll be exciting. A great partnership with us. Anything in the community that's happening that we need to think about that isn't on the city's lists of things that they're doing? No? Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to tomorrow send out an email, just kind of just with all the city activities that we have so far access to. You reply all. Remember that those are official records. They are meeting records. So it's simply putting what you're representing or what you'd like to represent on, or if you can. And if not, that's totally fine. We'll try to, if there's only a few of us that can do a couple of events, we'll try to spread out as much as we can and do different types of events to make sure that we're, as widely represented as possible. And then I will be connecting with a few of you around like Senior Resources Center, Front Range. I know some of you have things. Donna, I'd love to circle back with you maybe in the next week or so once you have some maybe time to talk to your community. Michelle, I'll look for that list from you just to kind of start that process. And I know everyone's kind of shared some ideas. And then what I will do also in the next 2 weeks, I'd like to send out some messaging to just have a brief conversation. Like I said, it can be 10 minutes on the phone, just to kind of individually meet with you, figure out what I can do to support and or move some of your vision forward so that we can really be outward facing as much as we can. Cool. Okay. Anything else? Well, okay. Well, I guess this will be one of the diamond standards. It really doesn't happen very much, but officially it is 6:55, and without any other discussion, we will officially adjourn. Oh, Cody.
Can I just say thank you for the time and space you've given me over the last couple of years and coming back to your group. I am very appreciative of all that you bring and make me think about. And I will miss you all. I am just still in the same spot. Please come visit. I hope to see you in passing on Wednesday nights. But I just wanted to say thank you again for everything that you do for me personally, but also for the city as a whole, for the organization and the community. I'm grateful that you all are here and so passionate about this.
Cody, I really believe I speak on behalf of the board and say, thank you so very much for your just advocacy, your championship, your dedication to service. I could go on and on and on, and the skill that you have in being more filtered than I can be some days. I just really appreciate you and appreciate your energy. I'm excited to work with Amy and Kate, but you will be missed. And I definitely will be continuing to nag you a little bit because, you know, I'll have questions and things. So
Please do.
All right.
It's
then-
been my pleasure. Thank you.
thank you. And Kate and Amy, we're excited to have you as well. We're excited to work with that partnership too. That's definitely something that I think we'll all benefit from as we move into supporting cultural affairs and, you know, what's going on with libraries and all the good things that you're all doing. So yeah, well done. And then Cody, I wasn't able to access that email. Could you hang out for just a minute?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Could we officially stop recording and
Mhm.
okay.
And who's gonna be going tomorrow?